I swear to God, I was here yesterday. Edge of Tomorrow is a movie that came out of nowhere in 2014, and why am I reviewing it now? Well, because I want to, because I'm starting a series where every week I'll review an older film that I really love, that I rewatched that week, and I rewatched Edge of Tomorrow for the second time. I saw it when it first released, and it was a movie that blew me away when I first saw it. Everything about it. This movie could have been just an average sort of Tom Cruise action movie, but it's not. They take this movie in every single different direction to make it as interesting, as exciting as they could have made it. This movie is so amazing. There are so many things I love about this film, and I've just got to get into them here because I love this movie. I really do. Starting off, Tom Cruise. He's amazing in movies like Mission Impossible and all the stuff like that, but here he really has a different performance because this isn't your stereotypical action movie Tom Cruise. This is a very awesome character because he's really scared about going into the war and fighting aliens. Yeah, there are so many amazing moments with him because he's so scared of doing this. He doesn't want to do it. He's being forced to do it. And that's amazing. There's so many ways where he's trying to get out of doing this. He knows he's going to get killed. And it's so amazing to see. And then after he relives, of course, every single day, live, die, repeat, The Edge of Tomorrow, he sort of becomes a Groundhog Day movie. And the first time he experiences waking up, he's like, you don't know what's going on. I remember me first time watching that, I was like, what? This is insane. I had no idea what was going on. And it was amazing. And it's so amazing because they put his character in the same position as you. You're trying to work out what's going on, he's trying to work out what's going on, and then as soon as you work out what's going on, the movie really starts to pick up, and it becomes so much more entertaining. And because of Tom Cruise's performance, because you see him as this, like, weak, puny general that's scared about going into the war, and there's loads of setup for him going in to the war, until he gets squirted with that alien juice, and his face melts off. But, before he does that, and then every single time he lives another day, he just gets more awesome and more awesome, and he gets stronger and he gets more clever, and we see him come into this hero, and we see him become someone great. It's just a really, really unique character arc, and it's done magnificently. Also, the other characters in the film are really great because we get to see so much of them, and we get to see them in the same scenes over and over again. I'm pretty sure when they filmed this movie, they just filmed the same scenes over and over again. That might have been a bit repetitive. Sometimes this film does feel repetitive. Well, it's supposed to because he's reliving the same day. But it really gets you to spot more small details in the filmmaking. It's like rewatching a movie over and over again. It's like you're rewatching his day. And it's so magnificent. And if you've never seen the film Groundhog Day, this film is basically Groundhog Day 2. Because I love Groundhog Day, but this movie does it in an action, awesome, alien style. And also the aliens in the film, the CGI is amazing. Some of the action sequences in this movie are so exciting and so well shot and so thrilling because you're in that position with him, and also you know what's going to happen next when you've seen the next day. And it's so amazing. Also, another thing that's really great about this film is the pacing. This movie never drags because, again, you're reliving the same day. And it just makes the movie so much more interesting when watching it. It really has a nice, fast, awesome pace to it, and it really does feel like it's one day long, but in a good way. Some of the other performances in the movie I said are great. You really get a lot of character development, some characters, because we see so much of certain characters, which is amazing. Another thing I really like in this movie is just the direction, the way scenes transition, the way he goes from day to day. You can tell what's going on all the time. The film is never confusing. And this is something that could really be lazily done about this movie. And I think with the script that they had, this movie could have been really good, or it could have been really bad. It could have been really confusing. People wouldn't have known what was going on. But this movie just does it so perfectly and so subtly that it just works every single second. And it's so amazingly well done. And I really love it for that. Still moving on with the positives, because there are so many positives in this movie. Just the cleverness of it. It's just so clever seeing how this strategy is built up and how these twists are done. And also the big twist that he's reliving the same day is as we all know, is shown at the start. This is a very odd place to put a twist. Usually you put the twist at the end, but here it sort of trusts the audience a little bit, and I really like that. And you sort of have to pay attention. It allows you to pay attention to every single little detail. It also makes you want to go back and rewatch the film, because you want to pay attention to more details that happened earlier on, maybe when you weren't as invested in the movie. And it's so amazing. It's just a really, really small details that just make this movie as good as it could have been. And this movie, I think, is as better than it could have been by miles, because when this movie first came out, I don't think many people cared about it, to be honest, but the more and more people that watch it now are loving it, and I think this is going to be one of those classic action sci-fi movies in the future, just because of its such unique story. I know it does copy off Groundhog Day, but just because it's in this Halo-y sort of science fiction alien world, and it's so goddamn entertaining. This movie is also really funny. There's some great jokes where he has to try and kill himself, like, every day. It's really well done. There's some great emotional moments with his character and Emily Blunt's character, who also I really loved in the film. There's so many great emotional punches as well that really, really get you. There's so many moments that get you tense because you don't know how he's going to kill himself in this situation or get out of this situation. And it's just really, really interesting to see what's happening. And also, it sort of, again, it bogs down the normal stereotypical Tom Cruise action film, because do we ever see Tom Cruise die in Mission Impossible? Well, we're never going to see Tom Cruise die in the Mission Impossible film. We get to see Tom Cruise die about 300 times in this movie. It's honestly one of the best movies I've seen, and this movie came out in 2014, and I think it was my second favourite film of that year, after Guardians of the Galaxy, and It was just a movie that blew me away. I think that year was a movie that blew me away from a lot of films. Guardians of the Galaxy, the Lego Movie, Winter Soldier, Days of Future Past. There's just so many movies. John Wick that year. What a great year for film. But Edge of Tomorrow was definitely one of their best films that year. And I loved rewatching this movie. It doesn't hold up as well on rewatches, because you already know what's going to happen. You already know this twist. So it doesn't shock you. It doesn't give you that shock factor. It doesn't give you that, oh my god, mind-boggling stuff going on here. You're not learning things about these people as they're going on. You're not experiencing it. And the first time I watched this movie, it really is an experience. But the more times you do watch this movie, you just learn to sit down and enjoy yourself. And that's perfectly fine, because as an entertaining movie, it's perfectly entertaining, it's perfectly rewatchable. It just doesn't have that immersivity factor that it had the first time for me. But I can still see myself rewatching this movie loads and loads of times before, just because of its awesome action and these amazing performances, the amazing pace of it, and just having some goddamn fun. And another thing I really loved also about this movie is the way it sort of concludes. It doesn't make you think about it. It just makes you accept what has happened. And I really like that. The ending shot of this film where Tom Cruise is just smiling. It's really cheesy, but it's great. It's really great. My one small issue with the movie, besides it not being too rewatchable and having that factor on rewatches, is that sometimes at the end of the film, especially the big end battle finale thing, I really liked. It was really cool, and there was a lot going on cinematically. But I felt it just felt a bit dark, and the color scheme in the movie was so bright and so ecstatic and so incredible to experience, especially when he's landing on the beach. Some of the shots were immense, that I thought when they went to Paris in the cave and stuff, it sort of just became that stereotypical action sci-fi movie we've sort of seen before. It doesn't really affect the enjoyment of the film. It's just a very small issue I have. But besides that, I love everything about Edge of Tomorrow. It's one of the biggest surprises I've ever seen. And it's a movie that I think if you have never, ever seen Edge of Tomorrow, number one, I've just spoiled it all for you. But just see it, because it's absolutely incredible. And I think it's one of the most unique movies out there. And it's a movie I recommend to anyone. Overall, I'm going to give Edge of Tomorrow an A. I'm also going to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. Very close to that 10 there, but doesn't quite get it. I really love this movie, guys. Comment your opinions down below, and of course, thank you for watching. Goodbye.